Though you can find this through the home page as well, sometimes it is easiest to type in srm.kckps.org. Once you are here, you'll need to enter your username and your password, which should be the same username and password that you used to log into the portal.
Once you're there, it will build our tree, giving you access to all the information that you will need.
To access GVC Guides for all grades, they live under this 01 KCKPS 5-step process. To get this to expand, you need to click the arrow next to it, the plus sign, I guess. Once you're here, you select your grade. We'll just happen to look at first grade for today's example. And when you click on first grade, you will see it says first grade GVC 2015-2016. I click the box and the cloud to download it. And then hopefully it doesn't take too long.
And once it's downloaded, it will take you to the opening page, which is the table of contents. And as you scroll down, you'll see all of the different content areas clearly linked.
One nice part about the table of contents, you'll notice there are no page numbers. Each of the headings is linked within the section of the actual document. So to access part of the document, you simply click on the heading and it will take you there. This first section is understanding our standards, and it's simply building background for teachers, teacher leaders, and other support around where our standards come from, and giving some background as to what we do with them. So for each of the content areas, you have a breakdown of both the standards, which are the Common Core State Standards for both math and ELA, the math practices, and the ELA capacities.
And for science, we have our standards that are based on the Next Generation Science Standards, and they clearly articulate all the practices and the cross-cutting concepts. And then as you go on to social studies, these standards are based on the Kansas Standards for History, Government, and Social Studies.
The next section, you can also access this Reading Your Pacing Guides from the table of content page. We're going to keep scrolling through simply because we're here, but it's showing you how to read the actual guide.
Each guide is divided up into 3 columns. In the first column, you'll find learning goals and essential questions, along with recommended time frame.
And this is the same for all of your content areas and all of your grade levels. So no matter what content you're looking at, or if you change grade levels, the setup of your pacing guides will be the same way.
There are a few differences in the second column. However, the things that are the same are all the coding, and everything is explained fully on this page so that it correlates to your grade level and the specific standards that are being addressed.
As Terry mentioned, there are some specific differences for each content area. You can see these outlined underneath. However, we're not going to take the time to read them to you all right now. This is a great place to come and look, though, when you're thinking about what each of these parts mean and how you might plan with them. This section is really going to give you the background on how to use each one of the pieces together.
In the third column, you're going to find the resources that are particular to each content.
These are all going to support those standards that live in the middle part and really help you plan instruction. Again, though the third column always houses your resources, they will of course be different by content as you're supporting different standards within each content. As we come down to the bottom of this document, every so often you will see a table of contents tab. This is similar to what you saw in the beginning where we clicked on the heading and it took you to the section. The table of contents button will take you right back to the table of contents. Next, we're going to quickly just look at a pacing guide to give you an overview. We're not going to go in depth with content. However, we wanted to quickly show you how they are set up. Let's look at social studies.
Sounds like a good plan. The beginning of the social studies pacing guide will link you to the complete document from the state of Kansas if you're interested in reading through all the particular parts. And all of the content areas have front matter that will give you some insight into how these pacing guides were developed. You will have an at-a-glance at each content area. In this particular at-a-glance, we are talking about the standards for social studies.
And so what the at-a-glance does for each content is just allows you to see when the standards are paced out during each instructional window, so when you're hitting what standards. This can be especially helpful when you're doing long-term planning or thinking about how you're going to keep track of grades for the grade card.
An interesting part about each pacing guide is the bolded section in the center. That is encompassing your practices, or in social studies, they're also called skills, your big ideas, which are your standards. And for social studies, the slight difference is that it will tell you a little bit about the content that's being covered.
Similar to what we talked about earlier with the how to read your pacing guide section, you can clearly see in this first column your learning goals, essential questions, recommended time. In the middle part, this is your content, meaning you use all of these things in the middle to think about how you're going to plan for instruction. In this last column, you have your specific resources for your content. And so even though the content will be different for your different areas, the setup of your pacing guide is exactly the same.
In that third column, you will also find the assessments and the cover page that will go along with each assessment for each content area.
And we will do a separate screencast to give you much more in-depth information about those tasks. At the end of each instructional window, you can see down in this very last little row, there's some blue text that says End of Instructional Window 2, Return to Table of Contents. As you may be able to guess, that takes you right back up to the beginning. The last part, we have the appendix, and so we'll just quickly take you through to show you what's there, but won't spend a lot of time here. Similar to some of the things in the front matter, the things in the appendix are really for your own learning and to help you really understand instruction within a unit plan as well as within your day-to-day classroom.
The literacy grounding statement is a statement that was developed in the 2014-15 school year. It clearly gives you the desired effect from both a teacher practice standpoint and a student outcome standpoint. This will be information that you will need for each content area.
Right, this isn't just limited to reading and writing, but it really, with this idea of a comprehensive language and literacy day, names the teacher practices and student outcomes that we should be seeing for literate students across our day.
We have exemplars from each performance task for you to reference as you are thinking about doing the teaching and planning for giving these performance tasks to your students. They are not meant to be perfect, but they are giving you some ideas about which parts of the scoring key are clearly covered in the student work.
In kindergarten and first grade, you have this animated literacy guide to manipulative-based reading instruction. This is essentially the whole text written by Jim Stone. And so you have this to be able to support your reading instruction, but this is not something that we see in all grades. When we go back up to the top, you will be able to see there are a few more links. The Elementary ELA Assessment Guide and the Elementary Literacy Handbook are two additional pieces of great information that are really going to help you build background. And they will link you to documents that are not actually located inside our GVC, but also still give you good information regarding your instruction.
And as always, if you have further questions, your teacher leader at your site is a great resource, and we in the curriculum team are always available to answer any questions that you might have.
We hope that this has been helpful and look forward to a great school year. Thank you.